Welcome to Living Abundantly, my friends. I am your host, expert lifestyle designer, and two-time international best-selling author, Sarah V. I am so thrilled to share this incredible next guest with you. It's none other than Lachi. As the host of the PBS acclaimed series American Master Renegades, she captivates audiences with her unique perspective. Born legally blind, Lachi harnesses her talents in music, storytelling, and fashion to champion identity, pride, and celebrate disability culture, inspiring others to embrace their individuality and resilience. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm so honored to be with you.
And I'm honored to be with you.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. And I definitely want to have your shoes afterwards.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So I'm so inspired by the words you use to celebrate and describe disability.
Sure.
You can, I'd love for you to kind of explain what you mean about the disability culture and how you have flipped the switch, quote unquote, on the way we understand disability today.
So a lot of times when people, first of all, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh.
Let me just jump right in.
Right in. Oh, I love it.
But you know what? Listen, a lot of times when people hear the word disability, they have a negative connotation to it due to the stigma.
Yes.
And I'm out here showing people, listen, look at how fabulous I am. This could be you. People come to me and they go, oh, if I lost my vision, my life would be over. I'm like, if you lost your vision, your life would be me. So,
oh my God.
So it's what I'm trying to show people is that no matter who you are, you can make the best of your life.
Yes.
So when we talk about disability culture, a lot of times people think compliance or a ramp or whatever. But then when we think of other cultures, that's not what we think about.
Yeah.
So we think about the music, right? The food, the poetry, the clothes, the way folks talk, the language.
Yes.
That's what we think about when we think of like hip hop culture or Latin culture or whatever.
Yes.
So why don't we think about the music that's created from folks with disabilities, the types of fashion from the different types of bodies and minds we have.
And look at you. Oh my God. You and what I love, and I read something, is that you eat barriers for breakfast.
I do.
I do. Love that.
I eat barriers for breakfast with milk in my bowl.
I can just see it now.
Well, I mean, but it's like, for instance, these canes, right? You wouldn't be able to have a cane like this if you were not legally blind like I am, or blind in some way. So it is a fashion that is very unique to what I have. And so it's out here to really celebrate that part of myself.
And it's sparkly.
And it's sparkly and fun. And you're sparkly today.
So I love that you have put your absolute heart and soul into re-educating people about disability. So tell us about your current role as the host of the PBS American Masters Renegades, which I actually watched, which was fabulous.
So I absolutely love the experience of being the host of American Masters Renegades. Essentially, what we did is we had a 5-episode series, a digital series on PBS.com and the like, celebrating unsung American heroes with disabilities that helped change and shape the world.
Yes.
Everyone from Judy Lindell Ray to Brad Lomax to Tom Wiggins. And the beauty of that, and it's out now, so folks, go check it out. It's really great. But the beauty of that is that the entire production team from beginning to end had disabilities. So we had disabled writers, disabled showrunners, myself being the host, and it was subject matter about disabilities told by us from an inside view instead of an outside view.
Was so inspiring, and it really, really lifted me up and kind of re-educated me as well. But another thing that you do, oh my gosh, is you're a songwriter, and I actually have your song "Lift Me Up" on my Spotify. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
But is that song, is that part of your Mad Different tour?
Oh, well, actually, Lift Me Up came up before the Mad Different tour.
Right.
Lift Me Up, I'm so honored to be able to use my talents as a songwriter and musician to be able to sing about my community and get it on national radio, get it charting, and then be a part of the Grammys and everything of that nature, because not enough people are talking about what I'm talking about.
Yes.
But check out Lift Me Up. It was done in homage to the great Judy Heumann, who
Okay.
is this amazing disability rights activist.
Wow.
But you mentioned the Mad Different series.
Yes.
So that's essentially a 4-part concert series that we did at Amazon Music Studios, celebrating these different topics of identity, pride, and
Yes.
celebrating culture. And
Yes.
each of the 4 songs celebrates a different part of my identity. And we have been rolling them out. So they came out October, November, December, and January. And so they should all be out. And I want people to check it out. The music videos are up. They showcase sign language. They showcase celebrity audio description.
Oh my
so
gosh.
it's really, really fun.
Wow.
And then we're going to be doing a 3-continent tour to showcase Mad Different in Africa, in Asia, and in Europe.
You are on fire. Oh my gosh. I want to just dive straight into here and really celebrate that you have been named today's 2024 Women of the Year and 2024's Ad Colors Innovators of the Year.
Oh yeah, USA Today.
Yes.
Okay, yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really honored to get that title. It's actually generally for my advocacy work for my organization Ramped, recording artists and music professionals with disabilities. And what we do is not only do we consult and equip the music industry with disability inclusive solutions and accessibility and making it more safe and accessible for people with disabilities, neurodivergence, mental health, and chronic conditions. But then we also bring opportunities and visibility to folks in the industry with those different conditions so that they can compete with their counterparts on level. So that it's not just, it's just Lachi and Stevie Wonder, right? It's like, no, we have a whole mound of folks. And if you yourself are a musician, you have somewhere to come where we can support you.
Wow. You are an absolute gift to the world. I just love this. But I just am so honored to have had you here on the set with your shoes. but
Look, listen, if my shoes ever end up missing, I'll know you took them.
Exactly. Yes. But I just wanted to ask my one last word before we wrap here. You know, you definitely are living an abundant life. But what would you say is a word that best describes your life right now? You can, I'll let you use 2 because I know you're very full of abundance. So what is one abundant word?
Purpose.
Purpose.
Passion.
Purpose and passion. It just has such a beautiful vibration. My gosh. And it just reflects what's going on within you. So thank you. Thank you so much
for having me. This has been an honor. Thank you so much.
For shining your light on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We will be right back, so don't go away. Thank you so much for sticking around. We have so much to share with you. My next guest really speaks my language about energy. I'm talking about inner energy. And I always say that energy is everything and everything is energy. Dr. Dain Heer is a trailblazer in the field of consciousness, energy, and bodies. With over 30 years of experience in the field, Dain began his journey as a chiropractor before developing his signature energy work. His best-selling book sparked an international movement and was the catalyst for the creation of International Being You Day. I love that. Welcome to the show, Dain.
Sarah, thank you so much for having me. What a pleasure.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Thank you so much for being here. This, I would have to say, like I said in the beginning, energy is one of my favorite topics. And in my own life and understanding, my energy has really shifted everything. And I'm not talking about, energy or feeling energized. This is something deeper. So I ask you, what is your definition of inner energy?
Well, it's actually really simple. It's that inner knowing that we all have that we so often ignore. And when we follow it, things tend to work, often miraculously. And when we ignore it, it doesn't. And the beginning of that is a recognition that what's true for us has a lightness to it. It makes us lighter, whether that's people or things or concepts, anything we read or see. And what's alive for us will always make us heavier. And to the extent that we can start to choose those things that make us lighter, our lives start to show up that way. But the real crucial key is to recognize we know.
in your opinion, how do we actually start noticing our inner energy?
Well, it's really a matter of just getting a bit more present with ourselves. And, the concept of mindfulness is one way of explaining it, which is you start to notice, oh, when I'm around these people, I feel happier. When I talk to this person, I get heavier. And in that, what we do is we give ourselves the recognition that we are actually aware of this inner energy and this inner knowing that we have. And from there, making the choice to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to actually start exploring this more and be aware of more things. And I'm actually going to start using it to navigate my life and my choices, because one of the difficulties is most people feel duty bound and obligated to create their lives in a particular direction. And this starts to give us a choice to create lives that actually work for us. And anybody who's truly successful, from housewives to business creators, are actually following this. They just don't call it this.
Yes. And I know for me personally, meditation was how I really began to understand my energy. Can you explain how understanding energy can help you in any type of transformation in our lives?
Absolutely. It allows us to navigate differently, and it can become like a personal GPS for us. And I used to meditate, and I was so bad at it. And we know it takes practice.
Mhm.
And I came across something called access consciousness bars. And it's a light touch technique that's done on the head, takes about an hour.
Mm.
And I literally afterwards, it quite literally saved my life 24 years ago. And that's what got me on this journey of exploring this awareness that we have, this awareness. And we had a neuroscientist study it who studied brainwaves, and he had been studying people who meditated for 20 years. And he said, I've never seen anything like this. In an hour, it creates as much change in brainwaves as 15 years of meditation.
Mm.
And so what this opened up was this awareness that things can actually be different for us if we find the right tools.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But understanding, my own thoughts were actually creating my energy. I mean, it's all connected. My energy was connected to my emotions. But I would love to know your philosophy about how someone can tap into an abundant source of energy, for their own success, whatever they're doing.
Absolutely. Well, first, we've already mentioned follow more of what's true. Notice what's true and follow it rather than choosing to try to go down to what's heavy and bring lightness to it. And then there's two other steps, which is stop judging and start questioning, because we're so conditioned from the time we're kids to come up with the right answer and then follow that through to prove that we're getting it or prove we're good or whatever it is. And what happens in that is anytime you come up with a judgment or a conclusion, nothing that doesn't match that can come into your world. So if you decide something is difficult, that's how it shows up for you, except the person next to you, it's easy. Why? Because of the judgment that we've come up with. And so what we can do to change this is ask questions. A question could be as simple as, what else is possible I've never considered? What's it going to take to change this? How does it get any better than this? And another great question is this thing that I'm aware of, is this heaviness or is this fear or this concern, is it even mine? Or am I aware of someone who has this, as a way of recognizing that we're all interconnected, but what we tend to do is we tend to share the yuck with each other rather than the sense of possibilities. And if you choose to ask questions and follow the lightness, you can actually become a source and a contribution for more lightness in people's lives, including your own.
Oh my gosh, I love this subject. I'm so fascinated with it because I know it really changed absolutely everything when I started to understand my thoughts and emotions were connected. But this is so powerful. But what I would love to ask you as we wrap here, and I'm dying to know what your word is. But what would you say in your life right now is your most abundant word? Right now in your life, what you're doing, your purpose, your mission.
I would have to say grateful.
Grateful. Oh yes, and what a beautiful energy the word grateful has. Would you
Truly.
agree? Oh my gosh.
Absolutely. And it's also a source for changing any situation you can be
Yes.
grateful for, there's another possibility that can occur there.
100%. Well, thank you so much for your energetic wisdom. And I really, really thank you for coming on the show because this is so important for people to know. Thank you so much.
It is an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we will be right back. So stay tuned. Welcome back. And as you can see, we are back in the kitchen again. And I'm going to call this Let's Get Saucy for the Big Game because I am a Big Dipper. Plus, I love gathering for the big game because it's just a really wonderful time to spend quality time with family and friends. So I just want to give a huge welcome back to this segment with our chef, Nina.
Thank
Vietri.
you.
Yeah, so I know that, the football may not be everything for everybody, but what I do know is I actually am a halftime show girl.
I feel like all the girls are at this age.
Yes, yes. And maybe sometimes football really isn't something that we love, but I really love, the food and the fun. So let's get started. What do we have here? And again, the smell is just making me so hungry.
So
good. What do we have?
Many of things. I know when it comes to the typical football party,
Yes,
everyone thinks like, oh my gosh, just all this colossal food and all. I can just sense my belly hurting. I'm a huge fan of Sprouts. And the minute that I walk into Sprouts, I seriously could walk in there with my eyes closed, a little shopping cart, and get everything that I need and come out with everything healthy, everything organic, and something home for everyone.
Yes.
And that's all these beautiful products today.
And I think that is what my issue about the food is because when we go to the big game, the food necessarily isn't great and isn't abundant for our bodies. So I love the fact that, Sprouts, you use Sprouts and the things that we have here that you're going to explain to us in a minute are all healthy.
They're so important to me. Yes. The biggest thing with being a chef, and I'm in the kitchen 24/7, so I'm naturally going to have every sugar craving, salt craving possible.
Yes.
So let's just say I'm craving a soda, or I need a little go-to sparkling soda to go to.
Yes.
I love Wild Wonder. And they are, not only are they delicious, but they have incredible probiotics. And it's a nice little mixer for if you're going to have a cocktail, vegan, paleo, gluten-free, non-GMO. And for me and my family, that's all we're about.
Yeah. Because sometimes, some of the parties that I've been to, the drink
selection
is Coke, Mountain Dew, Orange Crush, which I don't touch.
Right.
But I love that you have an option for something bubbly and also good for you.
Olipop. Same thing. Their variety, their selection of all of them. They have root beer. What's this one? Crisp apple, the classic grape.
Yes.
Even, what's this one? The ginger lemon. So I always crave a little bit of soda, but I don't drink any of it. So I can have a quick sip of that and there we go.
And pair it. We've talked about pairing wine with your meal. Now we pair non-soda with your beautiful, amazing chicken wings.
Of course, about football, they're all about wings and the finger foods. And wings nowadays, of course, is all about the sauces.
Yes.
And I actually didn't marinate the wings in Mr. Hoff sauce from Tennessee, bottled, all organic, again, non-GMO.
Wow.
And I marinated the onions in hot sauce.
Ooh.
So delicious. I'm going to set the house on fire, I think, with the smell. You're like, oh my God, is the house on fire?
Yes. And, I am all about using abundant ingredients as well. And I'm sure your chicken that you use is also
all organic. And then all the sauces. I'm a huge fan of Sprout. Like I said, you can walk in there with your eyes closed and find something for the whole house. Ranch dressing, blue cheese, all those delicious sauces for a wing. Sprout, another amazing brand that I'm super proud of and love them. And the biggest thing when finding sauces, there's going to be a lot of added preservatives.
Yes.
And with those added preservatives, your sodium content is going to be skyrocket. So Sprout brand, when it's all organic,
Yes.
no high sodium content.
So
It's all-
you can be a Big Dipper
you can
with no guilt.
Just, I always like to say, just take the wing and just mop up all the sauce.
Yeah.
Just
Oh my gosh.
mop it up.
Well, other than the halftime show, I would be happy to come to your big game party.
Thank you. We'd be happy to have you already dressed ready. Look
Yeah,
at
I know.
This.
Well, this is the
Love this.
halftime
Like my
show.
little
This is
hat.
celebration. So, as always, it has been such a pleasure.
Aw.
I love the diversity of your cooking, and thank you so
you.
much for coming on the
Thank you.
show again.
Love
And
that.
I, as you know, I love, maybe we can say an abundant word
Sure.
regarding,
Mhm.
the big game show. So, what would be your abundant word to celebrate the big game?
So, of course, naturally, we're already into 2025. And every year, I always want to say the same thing, healthy.
I was just going to say that.
And we're doing it this year.
I love that. That is a
And I
great
feel
New Year's
incredible.
resolution for sure. So thank you again for
Thank you,
coming on the
Sarah.
show. And stay with us. We will be back in a moment.
Oh.
Welcome back. My next guest really aligns with what I practice, and I love that we are describing this segment as getting what we want out of life. Gary Coxe is a personal growth and lifestyle strategist who is recognized for his life-changing programs. His goal is to help others live an extraordinary life through lasting change. NBC alone has spent over $1 million producing his TV segments on mindset and behavior. Individuals, athletes, CEOs, and corporations alike seek his knowledge and inspiration. Welcome to the show, Gary.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my
Looking
gosh,
forward to this.
it's such a pleasure. So I want to really just jump right into this
Let's do it.
conversation. Yes. And this is a subject that I'm really, really passionate about, as I had said.
Yeah.
But regarding goal setting, I know you have broken through your own limitations. So do our limitations play a part in, how maybe we don't achieve goals?
Oh, yeah. You've heard the statement before, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
Yes.
It's not true. It can make an alcoholic if you're not careful, or a drug addict or whatever, right?
Yes.
So here's the thing. What happens is the most important thing that we have to do is acknowledge it. You can't change what you don't acknowledge.
Right.
So if you acknowledge you have a limitation, then you can take responsibility. And at that point, you can figure out, okay, what might be the next plan or the next steps?
Yes. So I always say that if it's limited, it's a lie that you're telling yourself. But when we set a goal, why do you think that the limitations are the reason why we are not reaching the goals that we set out to?
That's part of it, but I'm a firm believer that the problems that people have in their finances and in their personal relationship is a reflection of things that they have stuck in their emotional hard drive.
Yes.
So like for me, when I was younger, I got married, my wife and I, we had a baby. She tells me it's not mine. There's going to be some repercussions, some ripple effect of that.
Right.
Then in a time frame of that, my grandfather and stepfather died of cancer. My uncle killed in a plane crash. I got a phone call from my mother to let me know my father had just been shot
Wow.
and drowned in his own blood.
What?
I was in an occult for 40 years. Left that. When you leave this cult, your so-called friends and family are programmed to shun you and treat you as you're dead for the rest of your life.
Right.
So these are things that are going to cause triggers, and if you don't know how to clean them out, a lot of times the problems that people have, let's say in relationships, you think it's a problem with the other person, but many times it's a problem
usually
between me and me, not me and you.
Right.
And
Yes.
when we start getting into this and understanding and acknowledging, wait a minute, let me look at myself a little bit and take some responsibilities. It's not my ex-wife's fault or the person who murdered my
Right.
dad. You look at things that, totally different. There's two sides to everything, right? Two
Yes.
sides to a coin, two sides to a piece of paper. No
Yes.
experience can have just a positive experience without a negative one.
Yes. So do you feel like, it's the question of mastering our emotions and understanding, I always say, what kind of energy they might have in
Yeah.
our bodies.
Well, I think the problem is if we want to really be successful emotionally, we have to learn how to lead our feelings and not be a slave to them. And the reason we have a hard time being a leader of our feelings is because, think about it, when we feel sad, we act what? Sad. When we
Yes.
feel happy, we act happy.
Right.
Well, what I'm going to share with you next is a lot easier said than done. When we feel sad, we should try to act happy. Why is that so difficult? The answer is because anytime you try to do anything opposite of how you feel, You feel sad, you try to be happy, you're going to feel as if you're lying. And you've been programmed as a young child not to lie. So now, instead of pushing through it, you reward it and you stay depressed and you don't make changes. And because we're, when we're born, what's the first thing that happens? We start to cry. We want to go to the bathroom. We cry. We're hungry. We cry. And we are programmed to be a slave to our feelings. And there's got to be a point where you have to be so aware that, hey, I can lead this.
Right. So, well, then let's walk through, or in the short time we have, through the mindset that we all should have when we're setting goals. Like what do we need to?
The first mindset is, before you set a goal, write it down and figure out, is this something I'm willing to pay the price?
Yes.
Because a lot of times people see, especially I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. A lot of times what happens is people will find out it takes a lot more time, money, energy, and effort to attain your goals. And if you figure out what that might be first, then and only then will you realize, okay, let's see what the price is I'm willing to pay. I'm not willing to pay it. Let me make an adjustment, or I am willing to pay the price.
Yeah. So also, what is your why? I always,
that's important too, but it's the level of importance you place on the why. That's what's really, that's the key. Because, if you take 1,000 people that smoke cigarettes and ask them, how many of you would like to quit smoking? You're probably going to get everybody put their hand up. But why only a few amount of them make the change is because those that change, they had a higher level of importance on wanting to change.
Oh my gosh! Yes, this is my neck of the woods.
Oh, I love this. I can let
listeners
In
talk.
fact, I didn't mention to you, I'm on a promotional tour where I'm actually waiving my speaking fee, traveling all over the country. It's sponsored by Sandals Resorts, my sponsor.
That's
sponsor.
Right. Yes.
And what's cool is if a company, especially sales organizations, if they want me to come out because it's sponsored by Sandals, we waive the speaking fee, and I come out and share all this cool stuff.
Fantastic! Wow, and what a great sponsor. So it has been a pleasure to hear these insights, and like I said, this is my neck of the woods. But before we wrap, I always ask a last question, and I'm dying to know what your word is. But what would be your most abundant word that describes your life right now?
Freedom. Freedom. Emotional freedom is, you have emotional freedom and you can do anything.
So it's emotional freedom.
Well, emotional freedom brings financial freedom. It brings so many other freedoms.
Yes, I love that. Well, thank you so much again for coming here and sharing your incredible wisdom.
I appreciate that.
Well, my beautiful friend, that wraps up our time together on Living Abundantly. I truly hope that you feel inspired to shine your light from within. And here is to living your most abundant life. For even more content and inspiration, follow us on YouTube, Living Abundantly with Sarah V.
The proceeding was sponsored by Sarah V. LLC.